This lesson will be a practical one. Let's look at how to run workshops for setting and scoring team-level OKRs. And these workshops can be used by any team at any level in the organization, not just the leadership team. So our team consists of 5 executives, the CEO, the OKR coach, which is of course you, and the OKR champion, which is the future you, once you leave the company. And we are going to be setting the company level OKRs in this workshop. So for the 1-month pilot, we'll need to set up 3 workshop sessions. Firstly, for setting OKRs, and then for scoring them. And finally, we'll do a retrospective session where we'll look at what worked and what didn't, and try to improve upon the process before we roll it out to the rest of the organization. So let's run our first workshop, which is going to be the OKR setting workshop. To run the workshop, you'll first need a couple of things. You'll need 1, a whiteboard, and then post-it notes with markers, and an OKR template, which you can download from this link, gapsquad.com/OKR. So let's go check out this webpage. So this is the course resource page, and all material for the course can be downloaded from this page. So here's the link to the OKR template. As you can see, it's a Google Doc. So very importantly, to edit this page, you will need to first make a copy of it. So let's do that. And now we have a version of the page that we can edit. So let's come back to our workshop session. And let's take a look at the agenda for session 1. The OKR setting workshop will be a 2-hour meeting, and step 1 of this meeting will be to set the stage. So give yourself 5 minutes to reintroduce your team to the terminology of OKR and how the scoring system works. Remind them that OKRs are supposed to be uncomfortable, that is, they won't be fired for setting an ambitious goal and missing it. Ensure that the whole team understands OKRs and the basics before moving on to the next step. And you may need more than 5 minutes to do this, depending on the knowledge level of the team. And if the whole concept of OKRs is making the team nervous, that's good, because that means that they're a little bit outside their comfort zone, and that's the only place where real growth can happen. And then in step 2, take half an hour to figure out your team's objectives and pose the question, what are the most important impacts we need to make in the coming month? So spend a few minutes brainstorming ideas on sticky notes and posting them on a whiteboard or wall. And once all the ideas have been placed on the wall, you can examine and group similar ideas together. And from there, you can distill your ideas down into 3 to 5 aspirational objectives. And to keep everyone focused, don't add more than 5 objectives. In fact, if you can, aim for 3. And remember that your objectives should be high-level, qualitative statements that are aspirational, not tasks or granular outcomes. And then step 3 is to identify your key results. So give yourself about 1 hour for this. So for each objective, have the team members think about the results that they would like to see and measure to ensure that they've achieved it. Again, these should not be tasks, these should be results. Also, don't forget to mark your OKRs as moonshots or roof shots. And in the pilot stage, you can avoid moonshots, but during a normal OKR cycle, you should definitely try to include some stretch goals. And once you're done, assign each key result an owner on the team. And if a key result will require collaboration with another team, that's okay. Follow up with them afterwards and make sure that they're on board. And then in step 4, we'll review the objectives and key results that you've built out and ask ourselves the question of whether they're ambitious enough. And if you feel totally confident that you can hit a key result, then maybe you should increase the target and make it a stretch goal and create a plan to try and hit it. And make sure that the key results are articulated in such a way that they can be scored on a sliding scale. And hard numbers and percentages work great here. Also, consider whether you have too many or too few objectives and key results. Normally, we are aiming for 3 to 5 objectives with 3 key results each. And finally, in step 5, to wrap up the meeting, ask your team if there are any loose ends that need to be tied up before you go into execution mode. Are there any placeholder numbers that need to be firmed up? Or do you have to recruit people from other teams to be co-owners of a key result? Once all those questions are answered, you can then wrap up session 1. And session 2 will focus on scoring OKRs. And this is not really a single session, but rather weekly checkpoints. At the end of each week, The team will check in on how they're tracking towards the OKRs and give each key result a predicted end of month score. For example, if you've got a target for a key result of increasing something by 10% and you predict that you'll end the month with a score of a 7% increase, then your score will be 7% over 10%, which is 0.7 for the key result. And that's the score you'll use for that week. Also, don't forget to include a bit of commentary as to how you came to that prediction and why it's changed since last week. At Rocket Growth, they've all decided to do weekly updates informally using a verbal update that is given during a 15-minute stand-up session. And remember that the idea behind the weekly check-ins is to catch warning signs early and course correct. This is not really an exercise in covering your ass or trying to justify your actions. And the last session of the pilot is a retrospective. So at the end of the month, we start off by giving each key result a final score and reflecting on your OKRs as a whole. And a retrospective approach is used where we pose some questions to the team, such as, were our objectives ambitious enough? Were the key results actually measurable? Did we set our targets and forget them? Were our OKRs correctly aligned with the company's broader strategy? Did we really feel connected to our OKRs? And what else have we learned over the month? And to run the retrospective, you can borrow a format from Agile teams. So on a whiteboard, we can simply create 3 columns. The first one that shows what worked in that period, and the second that shows what didn't work, and then we can capture actions. So during the brainstorming session, team members will take a few minutes to write on a post-it note what worked and what didn't, and then they'll discuss it, and as a group they'll decide on what actions to carry forward. And that brings us to the end of this lesson. Let's recap what we've done so far. So we've obtained leadership buy-in for our OKR plan, we've defined our approach, we've appointed a champion, and we've created a rollout timeline. And we've looked at how we can practically implement the rollout program using workshops. In our next lesson, we will look at how we can go about taking all that learnings from the pilot program to create an OKR cycle. See you soon.